Hey, got a Semogue 1250 here, my trusty Gillette Sheraton from 1938. We'll continue on with my Nacet, marching on to 150 uses. Just completed 140 yesterday, and the soap for today is a discontinued one. The Strop Shoppe doesn't really do business anymore, as far as I know. And it says Austin, and this is their special edition with tallow. Off the, as you can see, it's fairly new, fairly unused. Just a woody scent right off the puck. The scent notes had bergamot and grapefruit in there as well, with maybe some petitgrain, and but I'm picking up the sandalwood, the woodiness of it. Probably the nature of that scent. Maybe it sticks around a little bit longer or something like that. Let's see what else we pick up when it gets wet. I'm going to throw a little bit of water on my face. And then this is my Boar. It has had 11 uses, I believe, and so we're going to do 12. It's been soaking for a few hours. My sleep got wonky, and so I only intended for it to soak for just 1 or 2 or 3 hours. But all right, here is the Nacet. Here's the dirty side. It's always on the bottom. And now, if you're a new person, this is an experiment I'm doing. This is the top side, and so it's all fresh and clean looking. I am shaving with the blade always with one certain side face down, just to see if something happens at the end. When I decide I don't want to use this blade anymore, I'm going to flip it, see if it changes at all. If there's no change, then that's kind of some data, some proof, maybe, that it doesn't matter when you flip blades. It just doesn't, because the one edge is what counts. And so if you're dulling one edge, then even if you flip it over, you're not going to get more mileage out. But who knows? Who knows what I'll find out? All right, so we will, with this little brush, shaking most of the water out. This is a dry puck. And then we will load for about 30 seconds. This brand, I've got 2 other tubs of this brand, and I've gotten good shaves out of both of them. So this is a good reason, good evidence to show that this is a good brand. They made good soap. Let's just see how this one does. I like a bunch of the scent notes, so I'm looking forward to trying it. 3 more seconds. And that's 30. And as you can see, I had enough water in my brush there to kind of cause some overflow. I'm not actually going to try to rescue that stuff because it's kind of airy. Rinse out the threads of the container. All right. So we take my loading lather bowl here. This is a 3D printed computer one. If you like it, or just want to, you can actually download the files that are linked in my description, and you can manipulate them and change them, update them to tweak the bowl to meet your needs. But I tell you what, this little brush rest right here, Roger Quintero put this design together, and that has fit every brush I've ever come across. So we stir for a little bit. This water is maybe 1/3 distilled and 2/3 my hard tap water. So it's a little bit of a mongrel today. We'll see how quickly this comes together. It's not developing a ton of lather right away. I may need to go back to the puck for a little bit just to gather up more soap. There's some there, but yeah, it might be enough, but I would rather go ahead and take my brush to the puck. I'm just going to dribble a little bit of water on there just to kind of help with the dryness of the, and we'll just do about 10 more seconds. Then we'll do a couple more than 10. All right. All right. Rinsed out the threads again. This is looking more like the amount I'll appreciate. I like to have a little bit extra margin in case I get a pass that goes weird. Looking good. On its way. Look at that top pattern. Still holding itself together really firmly with many soaps. That means I need to keep going with the water. Because of the way I like it, kind of right on the edge of slick and creamy. I like to add water until the creaminess is just about to drop away, because then you get this wonderful mix of as much slickness as it can possibly have while still remaining creamy and kind of a luxurious feeling. It's a little bit chilly tonight. I kind of took a nap, and so it's in the middle of the night now. I don't want to get this. I want to shave before. I don't want my whiskers to get longer. This razor combo doesn't really like the 2-day growth. All right. A little splash of water. Cold water. All right. Looks like I've got tons of lather now. This is a very soft brush, low backbone. Displays really easily. It's a smaller one, and so I haven't felt the need to put on an O-ring to try to rein in the splay. Yeah, I think I can smell a little hint of the citrus, but it's very weak. I mean, it's an old soap, so I can't fault it for that. Not freshly made. All right. Lather looks good. Night like this, when I'm just kind of cold, might be the time I switch to making a warm lather. A little tuggy, but no big deal. It's probably the lather. I shaved off 2 days of growth yesterday, and it wasn't as tuggy as this. I have no idea when this blade is going to stop. A little tuggy, a little uncomfortable. I don't mind that. But I've always said once I got into the really high numbers that I would probably have to call it quits, not because of tugginess and discomfort, but because of lack of performance of the blade, with maybe a close cut being increasingly difficult to achieve. We'll see if that holds true. It's an enjoyable brush, and it's only, this is its 12th use. I wouldn't say it's floppy at all, but it definitely has a lower backbone, easy display, very comfortable. I did actually, during this last rinse, wait for the hot water to arrive so that I can kind of have a warm water rinse and kind of warm my face up a little bit. It's just so cold right now. One of the situations where I'm kind of cold to the bone, you know. Cross grained. Comfortable now. Well, that buffing I do on the first pass, it really tames the beard. So there's not very much to shave when it comes down to the second and third pass, so they're always very smooth. You can change that if you want. You can do a little bit less buffing on the first pass and more to the second, you know, that kind of thing. Well, I can see, again, why the Strop Shoppe was in business for a good while, because that's a good lather, really slick, nice creamy feel, really a nice feeling lather. And I think they're still available on the used market on a fairly regular basis. The scent is really weak, very weak, woody type of scent. I don't know if at the time in which they were available, if they were a little bit stronger and it's just degraded over a few years, or if they were, like many, always a little bit lightly scented. Sometimes makers do that so they don't offend people who may have skin sensitivities. Third pass. Just knock it out and go to bed. Little tricky part right here, and this little move in that direction seems to be the move to accurately take care of the tricky hairs in that region. Coming from down here and going up is a mostly cross grain move that seems to lift those guys up. They seem to lay pretty close to the skin surface. So aside from going against the grain, which my skin in that area does not like at all, that's about the only direction that seems to be effectual. Wow, closeness. The closeness here is really good. Just an excellent cut right here in my tricky spot, and everywhere else is always great. So what we've got going is a 141 use blade that just took excellent, above average care of my trouble regions. I don't even see any length at all in any of the tips, and in some cases I don't even see some tips, and that is crazy good for me. That's without stirring up irritation, razor burn, that sort of thing. All right, face feels good. Let's see what kind of balm we have. Let's use some Soap Commander Integrity, and this is the Integrity that is unscented. Most of their other balms are menthol. When I said unscented, I meant to say this is the Integrity that has no menthol, because I think Integrity means in their line it's the one that's not scented. Nice performer. Wish it had some scent though. I wonder if I could mix some aftershave with it, add some scent. Doesn't take too much. Pretty cool. So I ended up with maybe 2 more passes of lather. So who knows, maybe I didn't really need to add too much time. This is an excellent lather. Maybe I didn't need to load for quite as long as I did. And with that much loading, 42 seconds, I believe, it took 2.5 teaspoons of water, which is kind of average. So pretty cool. I'm going to finish cleaning up. So performance-wise, if you were to stumble upon or have a supply of Strop Shoppe in your house, in your shave den, established 2012, then I'd enjoy shaving with it. It's a very, very, very lightly scented soap. I do get the woody scent. I don't really get too many of the other notes. If I take a brush right up and put it on my face when it's full of the lather, I might be able to pick up a little bit of the citrus notes, like the grapefruit. But it's so light that you don't really pick it up during normal use. But the performance is there. It's really nice. It's not going to probably compare with the new stuff in terms of the post-shave performance, but I don't care about that. I've got balms. And so my gripe with this nice soap is just the lightness of the scent and how tricky that, how thin that is. So I might pass this on to somebody who appreciates this particular brand, like maybe they were shaving with it for years and then just kept running out of stock, you know. So, but I can see why they were popular. It's a good soap. I would imagine that back in their day they were competitive, nicely competitive. Unless maybe their scents were this weak back then I could see how there might be certain people in the population like myself who wouldn't be interested in having one at this low strength. But the performance is definitely there, and I can see why people might pay a little bit extra to get them off the discontinued market nowadays. All right, well, face is done, balm applied, face feels good. I don't see any irritation. What I see is a nice close shave. 141 uses on the march to 150. Well, I hope this video has helped you in some way. You take care. It's time for me to go to bed. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Good night.